A burglar broke into my house, but he was the one who called the cops, claiming he'd been assaulted by a man and a woman. I froze on the spot. I wasn't even home. The woman was my wife, Claire, but who was the man? After hanging up, I raced back to our neighborhood. The sound of sirens had drawn my neighbors, and a small crowd was gathered outside my front door. Inside, the police were already handling the call. The living room was a wreck. The burglar, his face bloody, was sobbing to an officer. I was just stealing stuff, man. But these two, they were trying to kill me. They have to pay. My wife, Claire, stood there, completely lost, staring blankly at the floor, unable to say a word. The other man in the room was holding a baseball bat. He snarled, "You break into my house, and you think you're the victim? This is breaking and entering. I could have killed you, and it would have been justified." The burglar, his face pale, whispered weakly, "But you didn't have to go that hard. Besides, I was here first. I was in the middle of robbing the place when you two came in, all over each other, kissing and grabbing. You didn't even see me. It's not my fault you got startled." He wiped a smear of blood from his lip. "Jesus, for a couple of old folks, you were really going at it. Disgusting." A heavy silence fell over the room. Outside, I could feel the neighbors' eyes on me, a mix of mockery, pity, and a hungry anticipation for drama. An officer was checking IDs. He suddenly looked at the man with the bat. "Your name is Jason Vance, right? Hang on. You're not the homeowner." Jason hesitated, a flicker of embarrassment in his eyes. "I'm a friend of the family." Claire's gaze darted around nervously. "Officer," she said, her voice strained, "Jason is my friend. Can you please just take this burglar away? Get him medical attention, arrest him, whatever. It's late. Everyone should just go home." Seeing his chance, the burglar's defeated expression instantly turned to glee. "Oh my God, I'm a hero. This whole night was worth it. Totally worth it. You know what? Keep the medical compensation, huh?" The police waved their hands, telling the neighbors to disperse. I'd lived next to these people for over a decade. As they shuffled away, their whispers reached me. "Does Claire have any shame? This is just low. Sigh. I always said you can't trust a pretty face." Kevin was blind. If he'd married a good, wholesome woman, this never would have happened. What kind of backwards logic is that? This is obviously on her. Why are you blaming the husband? If you ask me, people like her should be locked up. You know, we should really thank that thief. If it weren't for him, we never would have found out. The crowd buzzed with gossip. Even the cops were giving Claire and Jason looks of contempt. Claire kept her head down, her body trembling. I couldn't tell if it was from fear or shame. The police cleared the last of the neighbors out. Seeing me still standing by the doorway, an officer checked my ID. When he realized I was the actual homeowner, his expression softened into one of pity. As he led the burglar away, he leaned in and murmured, "Don't do anything rash. Assault is a crime. Whatever is going on, try to handle it civilly." The burglar was practically dancing as they led him away, looking back over his shoulder with more excitement than he'd shown even when he was getting beaten. When Claire finally saw me standing there, the color drained from her face. She crumpled to the floor, her legs giving out. My voice was hollow. "Claire, what have I ever done to you? Why do you keep pushing me like this? Do you really want to destroy this family?" My voice cracked. What did I do to deserve this humiliation? For him, a guy you've known for a month. Jason, still holding the bat, smirked. "Kevin, calm down. Don't misunderstand. The three of us had dinner tonight. Chloe had to run back to school to grab something, and Claire had a little too much to drink, so I brought her home. We just happened to walk in on a burglary." I ignored him, my eyes fixed on Claire. She wouldn't look at me. Disappointment settled in my chest like a stone. I turned to leave. "Tomorrow morning, we're getting a divorce. Bring your ID." Claire's head snapped up. "No," she screamed, a stubborn fire in her eyes. "I won't divorce you. Everyone is pushing me to get a divorce. What did I do that was so wrong?" Slam. I shut the door on her heart-wrenching sobs. I had come straight from the hospital. Just before my neighbor called, I had been diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. I didn't have long to live. I never imagined the woman I had been married to for 20 years would do this to me. And I never imagined my own daughter's boyfriend would be so audacious. That's right. I knew the man. He was my daughter's boyfriend, Jason Vance. A month ago, my 18-year-old daughter, Chloe, brought Jason home. Both Claire and I were stunned. I was shocked because the man Chloe brought home was far too old for her. He looked to be about my age. Chloe clung to Jason's arm. "Dad, can you please not be so old-fashioned? Jason and I are in love. Just be happy for us." But the look in Claire's eyes was something else. A strange, shocked expression I couldn't decipher. Jason smiled, his handsome face radiating confidence. "Mr. and Mrs. Miller, it's a pleasure. My name is Jason Vance. I just moved back to the States. Chloe and I feel very deeply for each other. Please, rest assured, I will cherish her. Hearing him call me Mr. Miller felt like swallowing poison. But seeing the love shining in Chloe's eyes, I bit back my anger. She was the daughter I adored. I had to respect her choice. That was the day my family started to fall apart. Claire's behavior became increasingly bizarre. Whenever Jason came to take Chloe on a date, Claire would tag along. Dinner for 3. Movies for 3. Chloe complained, pouting, "Mom, I'm the one dating him. Can you please stop being the third wheel?" I frowned. "Honey, give the kid some space. Chloe's an adult. She can take care of herself." But Claire grew agitated. "What do you know? I have to be there to make sure they don't do anything they'll regret." Chloe looked miserable. "The thing is, when you and Jason stand together, you look like the couple, and I look like your daughter. It's just weird." The blood drained from Claire's face. A cold look passed over her eyes, as if she was calculating something. After that, I noticed Claire started going out more often, sometimes not coming home at all. Her temper grew shorter and shorter. Today, my head was pounding. It was also mine and Claire's wedding anniversary. I decided to come home early. I walked in to find a scene that made my stomach turn. The flowers and gift I was holding slipped from my grasp and hit the floor. Claire and Jason were in each other's arms, dancing. The dim lighting, the glistening wine glasses, the air thick with intimacy. When they saw me, Claire pushed Jason away, a weak, guilty smile on her face. "You're not working late tonight? Why are you home so early?" Jason just smirked. "Perfect timing. It's my birthday." Claire was helping me celebrate. She even got me this watch. I saw the glinting gift on his wrist. A luxury watch worth over $10,000. Why I've been admiring for a long time. In fact, I'd seen the watch box in Claire's closet last night. I thought it was a surprise for me. So today I had spent $10,000 on a matching women's model, planning to give it to her for our anniversary. I had been a fool. The watch was for Jason. Seeing my silence, Claire grew defensive. "You and your suspicious mind. You're jumping to conclusions again. Jason is Chloe's boyfriend. Chloe had a school thing she couldn't get out of. So what's the big deal if I help him celebrate his birthday?" I clenched my fists. As I turned to leave, Jason stumbled, as if by accident, right next to me. The wine glass shattered, cutting his hand. Then, he carelessly stepped directly on the gift I had bought for Claire. On instinct, I shoved him away. Jason fell to the floor, his face contorted in pain. Claire froze for a second. Then her expression twisted into fury. She rushed to Jason's side. "Jason, you're bleeding. Oh my God, does it hurt? Let me see." She gently blew on his wound. My head felt like it was splitting open. A metallic taste filled my mouth, and I coughed up a spray of blood. Claire shot me an annoyed look. "Kevin, can you not cause more trouble? Jason's hand is cut. Go downstairs and buy some bandages now." When I didn't move, she started shoving me, her voice rising to a shriek. "What is wrong with you? You just attack people without knowing what's going on. I must have been blind to marry you." I looked at her, my heart breaking. She was so tenderly cleaning Jason's wound. So focused she didn't notice the blood on my lips. So focused she didn't see the crushed gift box and scattered flowers on the floor. My voice came out in a weak rasp. "You're right, Claire. You were blind. And you were the most heartless person I have ever known." I staggered out of the room, nearly collapsing several times. Behind me, I heard Claire's voice, now impossibly gentle, cooing to Jason. There. It'll stop bleeding soon." I was so worried. As I stumbled out of the house, I saw Chloe. She looked flustered, and a piece of paper, a lab report, fell from her hand. Dazed, I bent to pick it up. Before I could see what it was, she snatched it back. "What are you doing? Are you sick or something?" She stormed into the house. A moment later, I heard her scream. "Jason, you're hurt. Oh, baby, I'm so sorry." Then Jason's voice. "It's not your dad's fault. It was an accident. I don't want to cause problems for your family." Chloe's shriek was filled with rage. "It was Dad. I knew it. He just doesn't want us to be together. I'm disowning him. I'll hate him for the rest of my life." I stood outside the door, the tears I couldn't shed burning in my chest. I couldn't believe it. In just 1 month, my wife and daughter had turned against me, all for an outsider. My head was throbbing. I got a ride share to the hospital. I was just about to go in for my scan when Claire called. "Kevin, I am ordering you to apologize to Jason right now. Do you have any idea how much you hurt him? If you don't apologize, this isn't over between us." I could hear Chloe yelling in the background. "If you don't apologize, I'll report you for corruption." I hung up. I had lived my life with integrity, a clear conscience. I wasn't afraid of her threats. The money for Claire's watch had come from a Public Service Excellence Award I'd received for my work in securing new investments for the city. Ignoring them, I went ahead with my medical tests. The doctor held my results, his expression grim. But just as he was about to speak, my father-in-law called. "Kevin, I need you to come over. It's an emergency." I frowned. "Dad, I'm at the hospital for some tests. Get over here now. I don't think I'm going to make it." My eyes widened. I threw my clothes back on and stumbled out of the hospital. My father-in-law, Arthur, had been retired for years. He was an honest, upright man, my former professor, the one who had guided my career. I didn't think twice, assuming the old man, who lived alone, had suffered a sudden health crisis. But when I got to his house, I realized things were not that simple. Arthur looked perfectly healthy, his face full of color, but his eyes were heavy with a terrible burden. "Kevin," he said, his first words hitting me like a physical blow. "My legacy is about to be destroyed." Every word he spoke after that felt like another nail in my coffin. We talked all night. During that time, my phone buzzed incessantly with calls from Claire, Chloe, and even the hospital. I ignored them all. Afterwards, I went to the banks of the Willamette River and sat there for an entire day, hollowed out. Finally, I dragged myself back to the hospital. The doctor gravely informed me that I had a brain tumor. It was terminal. In that moment of pure chaos, a neighbor called to tell me about the burglar at my house, the one who had called the police on my wife. I rushed home and walked into the absurd, surreal scene that began this nightmare. I had asked for a divorce, even though my heart ached with resentment, because it wasn't just Claire who had betrayed me. Arthur had also told me to divorce her. Besides, I was dying. Let me be the one to bear all this bitterness. Claire was sobbing uncontrollably in the house, but I just walked downstairs, a ghost in my own life. "My dear wife, you've been with me for 20 years. It's time I let you find your real happiness. I'll step aside. I'll let you have him." The next morning, I was at the county courthouse early. Claire arrived, accompanied by Jason. She wore a cold expression, but her lips were trembling. "Kevin, even though we're getting divorced, I need you to know that I never did anything to betray you. You don't have to hate me. After some time passes, you'll regret this. You'll be begging me to take you back." My gaze was ice. The pain in my head was excruciating. I took out my phone and played the video from the security camera I'd set up to guard against break-ins. It had recorded everything from the night before. The burglar silently picking the lock, creeping inside, and rummaging through our things. Then, the door opens again, and he dives behind the sofa. Jason and Claire walk in. They embrace passionately, then begin to kiss. The burglar, excited, accidentally knocks over a vase. The sound startles the lovers. Jason grabs the baseball bat and furiously beats the burglar until he's a bloody mess, then ties him up. The burglar, with his one free hand, manages to dial 911. And that's what led to everything else. Watching the video, Claire was speechless. No words could explain away the image of her, and Jason locked in a passionate kiss. A wave of dizziness washed over me. I felt like I could pass out at any moment. I forced myself to stay composed. "You're in love with him, so don't hold on to me. It's just disrespectful. Let's have a clean break." After saying that, I couldn't hold on any longer. My vision went black, and I collapsed. In the haze, I vaguely sensed Claire seeing the oncology report that had fallen out of my coat pocket. She seemed to be frozen in shock for a long time before she started screaming. "Honey, you have a terminal illness? No, I won't let you die. Honey, there are things I can't explain. I have my reasons. I never betrayed you. I don't want a divorce. I refuse. 20 years ago, Claire and I were married. 19 years ago, Chloe was born. 1 month ago, Jason entered our lives. 1 day ago, I was diagnosed with brain cancer. The night before last, my father-in-law told me his legacy was ruined, that I had to divorce Claire and take the fall for something. My life had been turned completely upside down. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a hospital bed. I could see Claire talking to a doctor. "Why can't he be treated? I'll give you money. Aren't you the best neurological hospital in the state?" The doctor seemed to be explaining that it was late stage, that the cancer had spread throughout my body. Claire shrieked hysterically. "I don't care. You have to save my husband. You're all quacks." She saw I was awake and froze. She started to reach for my face, but I flinched away. "Stay away from me. I feel dirty." All the strength seemed to drain from Claire's body. Her lips trembled. "Honey, I'm not dirty. I love you. Don't leave me." I held out the divorce papers. "Let's just sign these. Thank you for the last 20 years. Let me go with some dignity." Claire's brow furrowed. "Don't push me. Don't you all push me." Just then, Jason walked in with Chloe. He smiled. "Heard you were sick. Such a shame. You won't get to see me and Chloe's wedding day." Chloe's head was down. I couldn't see her expression. But Claire turned on Jason, her voice filled with rage. "Who said Chloe is marrying you? She can't marry you." I closed my eyes. "Just get out." I don't want to see any of you. Chloe's lips quivered. Dad, I'm sorry. As she spoke, a tear rolled down her cheek. I knew her heart. Her apology was genuine. I waved a hand dismissively. Claire, however, clung to me, whispering frantically, Honey, I'm sorry. I've neglected you lately. Look, the anniversary gift you gave me. I love it. I saw the watch I'd bought her on her wrist. But then Jason raised his arm, showing off his. What a coincidence. The one Claire gave me is the matching model. Thanks for making it happen. My vision swam, and I coughed up another mouthful of blood. Claire spun around, screaming at Jason. You are a monster. Can you just shut up? She turned back to me, holding me tight. Honey, don't go. I'm pregnant. The baby needs you. Jason laughed. That's right. Claire and I are having a baby. Why don't you help us pick a name, Kevin? Huh. I trembled with rage, summoning every last ounce of strength I had. Slut. Divorce. And then nothing. My soul floated out of my body. I saw Claire collapsed over my corpse, crying hysterically. Chloe sat on the floor, spaced out, her eyes empty. Jason, however, just smiled with satisfaction, as if his plan had succeeded perfectly. He put an arm around Claire's shoulders, feigning gentleness. He's gone, Claire. You have to look forward. I'll be with you for the rest of your life now. We'll be a happy family. Claire's sobs subsided. She nodded numbly. I laughed, a bitter, silent sound. So this is love. When the body dies, the love disappears with it. I had so many regrets. I wouldn't get to walk hand in hand with Claire into old age. I wouldn't see Chloe get married. I wouldn't be able to repay my old mentor, my father-in-law, for all his guidance. Forget it. I've had enough of this life. I don't want to see any of them in the next. I, Kevin Miller, owe this family nothing. 22 years ago, I graduated from college. Arthur, my father-in-law, had just moved from a university position to a role in local government. He took me under his wing and then gave me his daughter, Claire, in marriage. I was an orphan with no money to my name. Arthur never once looked down on my background. In fact, he helped me immensely. 2 years later, Chloe was born, and our whole family adored her. Claire and I cared for her tirelessly. Watching her grow up gave us purpose every single day. Claire was a professor, elegant, graceful, and virtuous. At first, she wasn't very interested in me. I felt she looked down on this poor kid from the countryside. It was only after Chloe was born that she slowly started to change. Later, Arthur retired to a comfortable life, and my career advanced steadily. Everything seemed perfect. I thought our family would live a quiet, happy life. But that happiness shattered like glass the year Chloe turned 18. My soul drifted along with Claire. She numbly handled my death certificate. When she was sorting through my belongings, she broke down completely. It was over a wooden comb. Back when Claire and I first got together, she hadn't yet opened her heart to me. One day, holding that comb, she said, Kevin, we need some more time. Well, I've truly accepted you. Will you comb my hair for me? I took her hand solemnly. Claire, I will. I'll wait my whole life for you. I'll do your hair for you. I was so sure then. A lifetime felt so long. I was certain I could make her fall completely in love with me. But I waited 20 years, and she never once asked me to comb her hair. Now, Claire clutched that comb, weeping. Behind her, Jason was practically glowing with excitement. He took Claire's hand. Claire, that's the comb I gave you all those years ago. Look, our initials are still on it. C+J. I can't believe you kept it. I knew it. I knew you were waiting for me. I knew you still loved me. I froze. The comb was from Jason. A token of their love? Were they each other's first love? Was I the one who had torn them apart? In that moment, everything became painfully clear. Claire pulled her hand back and placed the comb in its box. Her voice was flat. Yes, Jason. In 20 years, I never forgot you. Now I'm single again. Will you marry me? Jason pulled her into a tight embrace. Claire, of course I'll marry you. Why else would I have gone to such lengths? I love you. Marry me. Claire nodded quietly, resting her head on his chest. But her eyes were a storm of unreadable emotions. If you marry me, what about Chloe? She loves you very much. Jason laughed awkwardly. You know, I only got close to her to get back to you. I don't love her. I'm sure she'll understand. On the day of my cremation, Jason, Claire, Chloe, and my old father-in-law, Arthur, came to see me off. As they watched my body crackle in the flames, Claire's expression was distant. Chloe cried silently. Arthur just squinted, his white hair whipping in the wind. The day after I was cremated, a formal investigation was launched against me. They found that I had used my position to accept a large amount of assets from unknown sources. But since I was already dead, the case was closed after the assets were seized by the state. I was dead. Jason and Claire were together. Arthur's reputation was secure. Everything seemed to have worked out for everyone. But Chloe wasn't right. That night, the three of them sat down to dinner. Claire first lit a stick of incense for my memorial photo, then said calmly, "Chloe, you're 18 now. There's something I need to tell you. Your Uncle Jason and I used to be in a relationship." Chloe froze, then lowered her head and picked at her food, listening absently. And I, hovering nearby, finally learned their secret history. Claire and Jason were college classmates, childhood friends whose families were close. My father-in-law was a dean at the university, and Jason's father was a powerful local official. They had planned to get married right after graduation. But just then, Jason's father was caught in a massive corruption scandal. Fearing he would be implicated, Arthur forced Claire to break off all contact with Jason. Though they were heartbroken, they couldn't fight the cruel reality. The day they broke up, Jason gave Claire the comb, swearing he would come back to marry her and do her hair. Claire swore she would never marry anyone but him. Later, Arthur left the university for a government position. He saw potential in me, his student, and pushed for Claire and me to get together. Claire resisted at first, but then she heard that Jason's father had committed suicide in prison and that Jason himself had vanished. She finally agreed to marry me. 20 years later, Jason returned. He learned Claire was married with a child and decided to try to integrate himself back into my family. He seduced Chloe, and through her, he reconnected with Claire. Their old feelings were rekindled. As she finished the story, Claire looked at Chloe with apologetic eyes. "My darling daughter, can you understand? Do you hate me?" Jason, a smirk playing on his lips, added, "Chloe, I do like you, but the love of my life has always been Claire. From now on, the three of us will be a happy family. I'm sure your father, watching from heaven, would be pleased." At that, Chloe looked up at my photo and the 3 sticks of incense burning below it. She smiled coldly. "Yes, my father would be very pleased, and I will make sure you two are pleased as well." Jason nodded, pulling her into a hug. "Chloe, our wedding is in 2 months. I'd like to invite you to be our maid of honor." Claire frowned and glanced at my photo, seeming to suppress a wave of anger as she urged her daughter. "That's a good idea. Chloe, would you like to be my maid of honor?" Chloe leaned into Jason's embrace and nodded, but a cold glint flashed in her eyes. That night, Jason moved into my bedroom, lying on my bed. He smiled at Claire. "Claire, it's been so many years. I missed you so much." Claire kept her head down. "You promised me a grand wedding. After the wedding, we could be together." She was combing her hair with the comb Jason had given her. He came up behind her and wrapped his arms around her. "You never forgot me. This comb is the proof." Claire nodded, then turned off the light and went to Chloe's room. In the days that followed, Jason was busy booking a wedding planner, a venue, luxury cars. He was determined to give Claire the grand wedding they had missed out on. Claire, however, was acting strangely. She hired a private investigator, though I didn't know what she was looking into. One day, Claire and a few men cornered another man on the street. He looked nervous, shouting, "What are you doing? Why are you stopping me?" Claire held up her phone, which displayed photos of the man's daily life. "We meet again, burglar," she said coldly. I looked closer. It was the same man who had been stealing from my house that night. The thief's eyes darted around. "I'm no thief. You got the wrong person." Claire scoffed. "I know where you work. I have contact information for your family. Should I let them know?" The man deflated instantly, and what he said next was earth-shattering. My soul felt weak, lost. I floated beside Claire, the truth making me feel colder than death itself. On the day of her wedding to Jason, Claire, wearing her wedding gown, drove out to the countryside. I followed her to the cemetery. She wore the watch I'd given her, her face a mask of sorrow. She wiped my tombstone, poured some whiskey on the ground, and lit a cigarette for me. Her expression was tragic. "The day I married you, I didn't love you," she said with a bitter smile. "That's why I refused to wear a wedding dress. Now I'm finally wearing one, but it's not for you. You must be very disappointed, honey." I watched her silently. Even in her 40s, she was still so beautiful. Time had barely touched her. She was right. When we got married, she had refused to wear a gown or have a real reception. We just had a small dinner with a few colleagues and friends. Thinking back, she had clearly not married me willingly. Seeing her in a wedding dress now felt surreal. 20 years. You finally got your wish. Be happy, Claire. She continued. But did you know? After Chloe was born, I started to fall for you. And eventually, I fell in love with you. The reason I never let you comb my hair with that comb was because it was from Jason. I didn't want our love to be tainted by him. Claire took a sip of whiskey. Yes, I deceived you. I wronged you terribly. I thought this secret would stay buried forever, but it couldn't. Honey, I'm sorry. Today, I'm going to get revenge for you. I was stunned. Revenge for me? What revenge? I died of brain cancer Nobody killed me. Why would she need to get revenge? Claire gathered the skirt of her gown, and a fire of slaughter and vengeance burned in her eyes. I followed Claire from the cemetery to the wedding venue. Jason was pacing anxiously, checking his watch. He breathed a sigh of relief when he saw her arrive. Chloe stood nearby in her bridesmaid dress, head down, her hands resting on her stomach. Arthur was there, chatting with some old retired colleagues. The entire ballroom was buzzing with celebration. The officiant was enthusiastically warming up the crowd as Claire, Jason, and Chloe took their places on the stage. Jason took the microphone, looking deeply into Claire's eyes. "Claire, we lost 20 years. This time, I will never let you go. I love you. Will you marry me?" He knelt on one knee, holding up the ring. Claire smiled. It was a ghastly, ferocious smile. She didn't hold out her hand or accept his proposal. Instead, she said calmly, "Before I marry you, let's watch a video. A testament to our love." Jason smiled and agreed. But the moment the video started playing on the large screen behind them, his face changed. Down below, my father-in-law, Arthur, froze as well. The video was grainy, clearly shot in secret more than a decade ago. It showed a younger Jason with an older man. "Dad," the young Jason said anxiously, "this whole thing is blowing up. It's not going to come back on me, is it?" Jason's father trembled. "It shouldn't. There are no assets in your name. I miscalculated this time. Arthur Bishop is a ruthless bastard." Jason frantically stuffed some gold bars into a bag. "What does Claire's dad have to do with this?" His father beat his chest in frustration. "It's too late to explain. Just get this stuff out of here. I'll do a few years. It's nothing. Son, your old man failed you. I misjudged him." Jason bit his lip, then suddenly pulled a small pill from his pocket. "Dad, I know the law. For what you did, you're looking at life in prison. If you talk, and they find this dirty money, I'll go down with you." The old man stared, his eyes sharp. "What is that? What are you doing?" Jason lunged forward and forced the pill into his father's mouth, screaming hysterically, "Dad, this pill will take 2 months to dissolve in your system. By then, you'll get sick and you could get out on medical parole. I can work things from the outside. Dad, I'm doing this for you." After swallowing the pill, the old man looked at his son with a complex expression. "Son, the statute of limitations is only 20 years. Don't you dare come back before then. Take the money and leave the country. 20 years from now, you avenge your father." The video ended. Everyone, including my soul, was dumbfounded. Claire looked coldly at Jason, then shot a contemptuous glance at Arthur in the audience. "Wondering where I got your home videos? My dear father." Arthur suddenly shouted, "Claire, don't do something foolish." Claire laughed. "Did you keep this video all these years just for your own viewing pleasure?" Arthur's face went white. He collapsed in his chair, gasping for breath. Claire then calmly narrated the history between Arthur and Jason's father. Years ago, Arthur, through an intermediary, had tipped off Jason's father, who was in local government, about a lucrative project. They both profited immensely, but then Arthur turned around and reported him, leaving Jason's father to take the fall. When the father tried to implicate Arthur, he found it was a trap. Arthur had already covered his tracks completely. After Jason's father was imprisoned, Arthur took over his position. 2 months into his sentence, the poison took effect, and he died. The vast, illicit fortune was smuggled out of the country by Jason, who spent the next 20 years on the run. Jason returned for revenge. He wanted to destroy not just Arthur, but his entire family, Claire, Chloe, and me. He first confronted Arthur, threatening to expose the past unless Arthur helped him break up my marriage. Arthur agreed. Then Jason targeted Chloe, won her heart, and used her to get to Claire. When Claire saw Jason again, she was both shocked and overjoyed, but also wary. She didn't dare tell me the truth, but she sensed Jason's malicious intent. She tried desperately to keep him from getting too close to Chloe, acting as a constant third wheel. Finally, Jason laid his cards on the table. If Claire wanted him to leave Chloe alone, she had to reignite their old romance. The night of Jason's birthday, Claire agreed. If I hadn't come home early, they would have sealed their deal. After that failed, Jason tried again the next night, the night the burglar broke in. As she reached the end, Claire laughed coldly. "Jason, you probably didn't know this, but the burglar? My father hired him." Jason was stunned. Claire looked at her father in the audience with weary eyes. To protect his precious legacy, my father was willing to see my marriage destroyed. He arranged for a thief to be in our house that night, knowing that when my husband found out, he would divorce me. The crowd gasped. Claire paused, her eyes turning bloodshot. And that's not all. This good father of mine, worried we might not divorce, had a backup plan. He wanted me to be a widow. He secretly fed my husband a slow-acting poison, then bribed a doctor, one of his former students, to fake a diagnosis and tell my husband he had a terminal disease. The moment I heard her words, my entire existence seemed to shatter. I didn't have cancer. I was poisoned. Murdered by the mentor I respected most, the father-in-law I admired. Arthur's lips trembled as he tried to speak, but just then, several police officers entered the ballroom. They immediately apprehended him and put Jason in handcuffs. Jason struggled wildly, shouting, "I've been gone for 20 years. The statute of limitations is up. You can't arrest me. My money is long gone. Otherwise, do you think I would have come back for revenge?" Claire stared at him, unmoved. Jason's voice rose to a frantic scream. "Claire, so you never loved me again? Ha ha, you fell in love with that dead man. But what good did it do you? Did you get your revenge? They'll just take me away, and eventually, I'll be released. You bitch." At that moment, Chloe stepped forward from behind them, a strange smile on her face. "Jason, are you sure you didn't come back at all in those 20 years? Not even for a secret visit 19 years ago?" Jason froze. Claire's face went pale. Chloe looked beatific, gently stroking her belly. "Jason," she said softly, "I'm pregnant. For weeks along. It's your child." Jason's eyes widened in disbelief, then ecstatic joy. He had spent half his life as a fugitive, with no children. The news made him nearly lose his mind. But then, Chloe threw a lab report at his feet. When Jason saw it, he turned to stone. She smiled. "Your generation's feud made my father and me the scapegoats. I am ashamed of this child. I am furious for my father. So this is my revenge. Are you happy now?" With those words, Chloe ran towards the window and leaped out. Claire had already collapsed on the floor, her eyes vacant. Jason swayed on his feet, his mind clearly broken. A magnificent wedding ended in ruin. Arthur was sentenced to life in prison, where he died of a brain hemorrhage. Jason went insane and was committed to a psychiatric hospital, where he repeated the same phrase over and over. "Impossible. Impossible." Claire moved into a small house next to my grave. Every day, she would sit by my headstone, holding the comb, her voice choked with tears. "Honey, will you comb my hair for me? Honey, I'm not going to die. Living is the real torture. Honey, I miss you so much. Don't leave me." I stood beside her silently, listening to her mournful pleas, my heart an empty ache. Sometimes, living truly is more painful than death. You can continue your penance. I'm ready to move on. The end.